Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Trump defends rights of gun owners during NRA conference days after Texas massacre. Former President Donald Trump has defended the rights of gun owners in remarks to the National Rifle Association's annual convention in Houston, 3 days after a gunman killed 19 students and 2 teachers at an elementary school on the other side of the state. Trump paid tribute to the victims of the Texas shooting by reading out each child and teacher's name while bells tolled before he rejected calls for gun control. Sadly, before the sun had even set on the horrible day of tragedy, we witnessed a now familiar parade of cynical politicians looking to exploit the tears of sobbing families to increase their own power and take away our constitutional rights, Trump said. Every time a disturbed or demented person commits such a hideous crime, there is always growing effort by some in our society to use the suffering of others to advance their own extreme political agenda. Trump added, evil like the shooter in the Texas school massacre is a reason to arm and not disarm. One by one, leaders like Trump took the stage at the NRA's annual convention and denounced the Texas massacre. And one by one, they insisted that changing U.S. gun laws or further restricting access to firearms was not the answer. We must not react to evil and tragedy by abandoning the Constitution or infringing on the rights of our law-abiding citizens, Texas Senator Ted Cruz said. Cruz accused those advocating for new gun control measures in the wake of the Uvalde elementary school shooting of demagoguing and virtue signaling. He said that there have been too damn many of these killings. We must act decisively to stop them. But he also said that gun control advocates' proposals WOULDNT have stopped these mass murders, and they know this. Wayne LaPierre, the group's chief executive, began the event by saying that every NRA member and I know every decent American is mourning right now. 21 beautiful lives ruthlessly and indiscriminately extinguished by a criminal monster. Still, he said that restricting the fundamental human rights of law-abiding Americans to defend themselves is not the answer. It never has been. The several hundred people in the auditorium stood and bowed their heads in a moment of silence for the victims of the Uvalde school shooting. There were many empty seats. Among the protesters outside, Democrat Beto O'Rourke, who is challenging Texas Governor Greg Abbott in the governor's race, ticked off a list of previous school shootings and called on those attending the convention to join us to make sure that this no longer happens in this country. The time for us to have stopped Uvalde was right after Parkland. The time for us to have stopped Uvalde was right after Santa Fe High School. The time for us to stop the next mass shooting in this country is right now, right here, today, with every single one of us. Some scheduled speakers and performers backed out of the event, including several Texas lawmakers and American Pie singer Don McLean, who said it would be disrespectful to go ahead with his act after the country's latest mass shooting. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said Friday morning that he had decided not to speak at an event breakfast after prayerful consideration and discussion with NRA officials. The NRA said that people attending the gun show would reflect on the Uvalde school shooting, pray for the victims, recognize our patriotic members and pledge to redouble our commitment to making our schools secure. The meeting is the first for the troubled organization since 2019, following a 2-year hiatus because of the pandemic. The organization has been trying to regroup following a period of serious legal and financial turmoil that included a failed bankruptcy effort, a class action lawsuit and a fraud investigation by New York's Attorney General. Once among the most powerful political organizations in the country, the NRA has seen its influence wane following a significant drop in political spending. While President Joe Biden and Democrats in Congress have renewed calls for stricter gun laws in the wake of the Uvalde shooting, NRA board members and others attending the conference dismissed talk of banning or limiting access to firearms. Larry Miller, 56, from Huntington Beach, California, said he had no problem with the NRA meeting taking place so soon after the Uvalde shooting. He called the shooting very sad and unfortunate, and said the gunman didn't have any respect for the people's freedoms that we have here in this country. We all share these rights, so to be respectful of other people's rights is to respect other people's lives, and I think with that kind of mentality, we should be here, he said. Samuel Thornburg, 43, a maintenance worker for Southwest Airlines in Houston who was